The Cat Who Ruined Thanksgiving by Sharita Pope. Chapter 2. A Risky Endeavor. What's wrong, Genevieve? The little wood owl who lived in the McConways' backyard peered down from the apricot tree. His name was Arthur, and he was very observant. Genevieve sat down at the base of the tree. "Wrong?" she demanded. "Wrong? There's an imposter in my house. That's what's wrong." An imposter? Arthur took 2 small hops backward. He was a timid bird and easily frightened. What kind of imposter? An intangible imposter. That's who. Ever since Thanksgiving moved into town, the McConways have been neglecting me. Arthur cocked his head, confused. But Thanksgiving comes every year. It's a celebration of gratitude and kindness. Well, I don't see much kindness or gratitude happening this year, Genevieve said angrily. She prowled along the grass. I don't understand it. Haven't I been the perfect house cat? I sit on laps. I purr when they pet me. I don't even sharpen my claws on the furniture. The McConways ought to be grateful. But are they? No. As soon as a turkey-toting holiday shows up, I get shoved in the doghouse. The doghouse? Arthur looked confused. But you're a cat. Why would anyone put you in a doghouse? Not a real doghouse, Arthur. It's an expression. It means... Genevieve paused, a devious gleam lighting her eyes. It means Thanksgiving and I are at war. War? Isn't that a little extreme? Thanksgiving will be over by tomorrow. Surely the two of you could just get along until then? You don't get along with an enemy, Arthur. You conquer it. Genevieve lifted her head imperiously. If I let this slide by, what do you suppose would happen at Christmas? What about Valentine's Day? I can't let the McConways push me aside for every little item on their calendar. Arthur looked worried. I don't think this is a good idea, Genevieve. You and Thanksgiving have never had any trouble getting along before. That's because the McConways have never invited a whole herd of relatives over to their house before. And they probably never will again. Didn't you say yesterday that Great Aunt Sandy had been unusually ill? If I know the McConways, they're just trying to cheer her up. Genevieve flicked her tail. There's no use trying to talk me out of it, Arthur. I've made up my mind. Either Thanksgiving goes, or I do. She stretched out her claws, sharpening them along the ground. The McConways think I've ruined Thanksgiving already, so what does it matter if I do it for real? You can't get rid of a holiday, Genevieve. Genevieve smiled, revealing her pointy cat teeth. Watch me. Chapter 3. Operation Window Launch. Genevieve! Arthur hissed. Genevieve! But Genevieve could barely hear him. She was racing toward the terrace entrance to the McConways' living room. The doors were closed and latched, but Genevieve put her front paws against the glass, surveying the scene. Just as I thought, she murmured, watching the McConways scurrying back and forth. They've left the kitchen unguarded. They're always busy wiping windows and fluffing the guest pillows. A gentle puff of feathers announced Arthur's arrival beside her. How are you going to get in? He asked. The outside doors are locked. Easy, Genevieve said airily. Donovan was shooting paper airplanes into the yard this morning. He probably left his window open. She ran toward the back of the house. Sure enough, one of the second-story windows was standing open. The grass beneath it was littered with paper airplanes. Arthur flew to the window ledge. There's no one in the room, he said. Genevieve stepped back, surveying the situation. Donovan's window was high above the ground, and there were no tree branches anywhere near it. How was she going to get inside? Could she jump from the playhouse? No, it was too far. Climb up the storm drain? No, it was too slick. There was some ivy growing alongside the house, but Genevieve knew it would snap and pull free as soon as she put weight on it. She looked around, beginning to feel frantic. There wasn't much time. Donovan's mother might walk by and close the window at any moment. Suddenly, her eye fell on an old wheelbarrow laying half-tipped over near the garden plot. There was a wooden board lying on top of it. One end of the board was resting against the ground, and the other end was hanging in the air. It looked almost like a teeter-totter. Genevieve smiled. "Come on, Arthur!" She darted toward the wheelbarrow and positioned herself on the lower end of the board. "Quick! Push those other boards away from the wall!" "Are you sure, Genevieve? You might get hurt." "They won't fall on me, silly. They'll fall on the other end of the board that I'm standing on. See? When the other end of the board goes down, I'll go up, straight toward Donovan's window." Arthur tilted his head scientifically. "The direction looks right," he admitted, "but I'm not sure you'll fly high enough to hit the window." "Then you better drop a lot of boards," Genevieve said. Arthur sighed and fluttered toward the boards stacked against the garden shed. They had been set on their ends so they would fit beneath the overhang of the roof. Arthur landed at the top. "These look heavy, Genevieve. I'm not sure if I can—" Whoa! Small though he was, Arthur's weight had upset the delicately balanced boards. He flew upward, but the damage was already done. The boards toppled in all directions, making a frightfully loud clatter. One of them landed on top of Genevieve's teeter-totter, but the end she was standing on did not go up. Genevieve was still on the ground. "What was that?" someone shouted from inside the house. Genevieve heard running footsteps. "Arthur!" she hissed. "Arthur! I need more boards!" "There aren't any more," Arthur said. He had hidden in the opened end of a drain pipe, tucking away in the darkness. "I'm sorry, Genevieve. I suppose now you won't be able to ruin Thanksgiving." A loud creak interrupted his sentence. Genevieve crouched, the hairs along her back sticking up. Alongside the garden house stood an antique metal oven built on a platform of bricks. It was very old, and the bricks near the bottom had decayed away. Several of the boards had fallen against it when Arthur sent them tumbling, and now the whole giant, heavy cooking oven was teetering on its base. It fell over just as the door to the backyard swung open, and all of the McConways piled out. Down came the oven with a deafening clang. It smashed into the wheelbarrow. The board beneath Genevieve shot upward, and Genevieve launched into the air. She flew like a rocket, a yowling, frantic ball of fur, with claws waving in all directions. Up she went, and farther up, right over the heads of the McConways. They were all looking at the collapsing oven, and so they didn't see her. She kept going, higher than Donovan's window, right onto the roof of the house. She hit with a thud and scrabbled to keep from sliding off again. "Well," Mr. McConway said, "I guess we won't be fixing up that old oven after all." The McConways agreed that they'd clean up the garden later and vanished back into the house. Genevieve, crouched on the edge of the roof, watched them go. "Perfect," she said, even though her heart was still thudding. "They're all downstairs, so there will be no one to see me slip inside." Feeling immensely satisfied with herself, she dropped to the ledge beside Donovan's window, flicked her tail, and slipped into the house.